yourself. Tell us how long you've been in the business, and how about why you got into real estate. Derek, I'm gonna start with you.
My name is Derek Cal, brand new, just got licensed, we've done, this is the first. Real estate, always something always there. Chase the oil field instead. Everybody knows how the oil field is, so. I put my opportunity on the roads. Just kind of look into it. My family runs roofing companies. I run into Don Davenport. Just happened to be 2 weeks before Peggy started her class.
Well, we are glad you're here, and you're starting out perfect timing. So, how about you, Leroy?
I'm Leroy McCain. We just moved here last year from Washington State. We were both Keller Williams out there in the Seattle area. So I had a few deals out there, and I took last year off, and then got my license here 1st of March. And so it's been going good. Just transferred here from Elite last week, so this is basically brand new for us here.
We're glad you're here. And his lovely wife, Sandy.
We're glad to be here. I'm Sandy McCain. I'm also his wife. I'm a transaction, yeah. And he's TC, and he's really been pushy lately. I've always wanted to get my real estate license, but I've never wanted to do the selling side of it, and was introduced to the transaction coordinating side of it, and that's where I hit my niche. I love what I'm doing. I worked up at Elite for 1.5 years as their call center coordinator, and learned a lot. Had done this, I've probably closed over 200 deals in Washington State. So I'm here, I'm happy to be here, and
If anyone needs TC, she's for hire.
I am for hire, yes, I am. So then I have flyers with me, if anybody'd like one, but I'm here to learn this side of it so that I understand better. I mean, I have a pretty good understanding, but I just want to be better educated and have more knowledge when I'm helping my clients.
Awesome. Paige.
Well, my name is Paige Brown. Me and my daughter moved to Norman in November. I started Peggy's class in January and signed on here in March. So I'm less than a year, and I did it so I would have a flexible schedule, but could still support Aaron, but was encouraged to take her to dance because then I can find more clients, and take her to this because then I can find more clients. So I could do what I needed, make money, and spend time with my kiddos. So that's why I'm here.
Thanks, Paige. Rita.
Oh boy, okay. My name is Marita Whitson. I signed on the end of April, I think. I have a almost 2-year-old at home. So she has some health issues, so I wanted to do this to kind of be flexible for her. And also I am in school for business and accounting. So I've always gone back to real estate. And of course, Stephanie, I talked to her, I think 2 or 3 times, and then finally she was like, just come. And
Get it done. Glad you're here.
All right, I'm Savannah Alleman. I've been doing real estate for about 2 years now. Started with a different company and came over here earlier this summer, I think May or June, which it has like literally changed my life over here. So I love Keller Williams. Started in real estate. My friend went on a house hunting day we had a bunch of showings one day with a friend, and I referred her to a real estate agent. Anyways, I ended up going with them, and by the end of the day, my real estate, the realtor was like, "Why are you not doing this?" I was like, "I don't know." So decided to take the class, and the rest is history. So,
Glad you're here.
thank you.
Jackie.
Jackie Fuchs. I've been in real estate for 2 years also. The same person that recruited Savannah recruited me into real estate. And she worked on it for a few years, and I finally gave in. Never thought I could do real estate well, and
Already got
I'm
different.
still here. So I'm swimming instead of sinking, and so I'm doing okay. But it really, what really drew me into wanting to pursue real estate and finally saying yes to that opportunity was being able to get out what I put into my work. So I had a previous career where you work really hard, and no matter how hard you work, you didn't get paid the amount you should for that amount of work that you do. And real estate has that opportunity where you can go a little slower or go like nonstop, and you get get out what you put in. So glad you're here, and been here at Keller Williams since July.
Glad you're here.
Thanks.
Courtney.
I'm Courtney Granger, this is my sister. I'm still at the place that both of them started.
We're gonna get her.
Here I am. I'm excited to learn and to be here and hopefully soon be here.
We're not gonna go there today. Your own.
Oh,
This is just the first session, but we'll be getting you invited too.
Thank you.
So we are glad you're here. Let me tell you something. For 4 years, Keller Williams recruited me, and I went to more training. They always invited me, and they never pressured me to join. And I thought, that's class, that's character. And it was when I was ready to do something. So don't you even worry, because I've been there. I know what it's like. So we're glad you guys are all here, and whoever else is up there, hi Sandy. I can't see everybody, but I'm so glad you guys are here too. Can you hear me okay? All right, and you've got my screen is shared, so I will tell you, I have been teaching Ignite for, let's see, 2013, so almost 8 years I've been teaching a lot of Ignite. And what did they do? They went and changed it. No, it's a good thing, because the previous Ignite, the formulas are always the same. Material is always going to be pretty much the same. What shifted is when Keller Williams designed and developed their own platform. And now we have Command, and it changes up some of the activities that we do because we were previously in a different platform. So that was the reason for change. So there's been a few changes in it, but as Gary Keller says, he wrote the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book. Who has a copy of that book? No, everybody should? Okay. How many of you read it? We're gonna do a book study, right, Brian? Because it's hard to read sometimes by yourself. I'm doing a book study in Pauls Valley, and there are people down there that have been here for a few years and haven't even opened it, and it's been heaven. So we'll do one here. But Gary says in the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book that he wrote in 2004. 2004. That was a long time ago. He's rewritten it. It's still in manuscript form. It's going through the tweaks. All of the models in that book are still relevant. The numbers have shifted a little bit, but the models will always be the models. And you always have to watch it and say, is this model still relevant? And yes, it is. Now, in that book, there's 4 big models. There's the lead generation model, the economic model, the budget model, and the organizational model. He's going to be adding a couple of models. One is all around, what do you think might be missing if it was written in 2004? Technology, the internet. Hold one hand, hold the other one. There you go. Not so integrated. It's technology. It's actually the internet, because now we have social media. We have all kinds of ways to get other leads in business, and there's models around that. So does everybody know what a model is? What's a model? If I say we've got models, what does that mean? What does that mean to you?
Systems.
Okay, 2 different things. Who said that? Yeah, we have systems and we have models. Let me tell you what the difference is. A model, let me back up. Gary Keller says this all the time. Success leaves clues. I mean, we know people that are uber successful. They're right here in this office. You know, we've got several of our teams that are selling, 100+ houses. That team has been probably selling 300 houses this year. So success leaves clues. So what we do is we say, what are you doing? What are you doing? And when they can identify what they're doing to build this business, that's a model. So we want to model that activities, model that business model they're using. So Gary Keller, when he wrote the book, he brought in about 200 agents across the US. A lot of them were not Keller Williams. And he put them in a room and he said, okay, you guys are all millionaires. You all net over $1 million every single year. What are you doing? There were flip charts and whiteboards and all this stuff, and they started writing all these things down that they do. And Gary just sat there going, too many. He's all about simplicity. So they chunked it down, came up with those 4 models. And models are just what other people have done, specific things that they've done to make them successful. Why recreate the wheel when it's already there? And especially here at Keller Williams, we share all that. So in the books, in the MREA, he's got those 4 models. He added the internet, and he also added mind, body, spirit. Right? For any of you that I love that stuff. So when I hear mind, body, spirit, what it means is we have to be good in our skin. We have to have whatever that looks like to you, whatever a good mindset, right? Health, spirit, whatever that means for you. So all of these things go into consideration when you're looking at a beautiful life, a life by design. So the MREA book is going, I don't think that they're even going to talk about it in here, but if you want to dig deeper on anything that we do talk about, you should jump in that book. Okay? So let's talk about Ignite. So Ignite's been around for a long time. And but it's been updated. So we're going to, I'm not even ready. Sure. Ready to do this yet? Uh-oh. Hold on. Yeah. Turn that on. Well. Let me grab Casey. Maybe. Okay, we'll come back to that in a second. So let me tell you what's going to happen with Ignite. If you're getting ready to commit to participating in this, I want to share with you what you're committing to. Okay, so we're going to be teaching this course the first and the 4th Thursday of the month from 1 to 3 o'clock. Okay, there's going to be 2 of them, and this is going to be going out to the end of the year. There's going to be 2 of the dates because we have Christmas and we have Thanksgiving. It's going to happen the week before, but you will see it on the calendar. We'll put a calendar out for all of the sessions. This first piece that we're doing until the end of the year is called Spark. So in your book, you're going to see 10 sessions on Spark. And the purpose of Spark is to spark your career. Okay, spark your career. The expectation, unless you tell me differently, is that you are going to participate in all of them. 4 hours a month. 4 hours a month. But I'm gonna forewarn you. You are going to wake up one day and say, God, I'm gonna do this. I want to do it. I promise you the time will come. And you're going to try to come up with a zillion reasons why. Put the battery in?
I don't know, how do we use this?
Huh? My clicker, it's for PowerPoints.
Is it to this?
Yeah. So that comes out of this.
You just, it's on.
Mhm.
It lit up green. I don't know. I've never used the clicker.
Oh, man, okay. Oh, it's not that, it's this. PowerPoint's not working. Oh, you've got it on a download. Hold on here, go down.
Do the arrow.
Okay, do those. I'll just do that. Okay. Sorry, sidetrack. Okay, so the first section is Spark. Now, this was very hard for me. This was a tough decision, but typically Ignite is taught every single day for a month. And we have done it that way, and it's hard. It is hard. You guys also have lives, and I know not all of you are here full-time and all that. And there's going to always be a few people that would dig that. They would be just, yeah, we're warriors, we're doing this. But the leadership team said, why don't we try it this way and do it twice a month? Since we have other things in this time slot, those other 2 Thursdays. Next year, when at the beginning of the year, when we start the second piece of this, we'll reevaluate. Because, and your input is going to really help me make decisions as far as the best way to deliver this. We've tried it every day, we've tried it, but by day 4, I've lost people, and I think it was just too much. So your input as we go through this would really be helpful, and please be honest, it matters. Okay, so January, after the holidays, we come back and we're going to start the second portion of this called elementals. Funny name. We'll call it essentials. But it's elementals, and the elementals are is how do you, now that I have a contract, what do I do? Right? It's going to be now that I have a now that someone said yes, what do I do? So the first sections are going to be how do I get a contract? How do I find someone who wants to do this? And then the second portion is going to be what do I do then? So it's fabulous material. When I was in New Mexico, when I was a team leader there, I sat on the board of realtors, and I was part of the, I participated in the board, in the real estate commission a lot. And it was about that time that they passed that 45-hour course, that post-licensing that we call here. I was there, that wasn't a part of what we had to do until a few years after I became team leader. And so when they were putting the materials together, they said, God, you know that at night stuff? Yes. She said, we'd love to use that material for our 45-hour post licensing. So it was used, not verbatim. A lot of the KW stuff was wiped out, but that's what they used. So how many of you have taken a 45-hour course? Okay, so it's going to be along those lines, which is now that I have my license, what do I do? Okay, all right. So what we're going to do, and I'm going to read this to you because it's pretty good. It says, we're going to establish core activities and habits that you will use in your entire real estate career. Okay. Okay, I'm getting ready to tell you something. You may know this, you may not. And don't go, are you kidding me? Real estate is not sexy. It can be very unexciting, and it can get really boring. And you gotta be okay with that. Because sometimes we're looking for the shiny object. I want to go over here and show this house. I want to meet with that cool person. If you are not systematic about how you get business, your success will be wobbly, right? It'll be very, very wobbly. So you get to decide. You get to decide. No one gets to decide that for you. Anybody can do this. Even people that I thought there's no way they're going to do it, and they surprise me. That's the surprise ever. But I promise you, you will have everything you need to do it. And the only thing that can get in your way is your head, and that's what I want you to come see me, because I can help with that. I promise you. All right. Let's continue. Okay. I want you to think about it for a second. This is not something you gotta shout out, but when you think about why you got into real estate, I mean, I've heard various things. Get out of the oil field, got a daughter at home and I want to be available. And you wanted to have flexibility with your daughter as well. So this is why we got into it, but how did you envision it as far as what your life looked like? Take a moment, and I want you to write that down in your book. Write down a couple of things as to how you see your life. What does it look like when you're successful? Just a couple of short pages. What would you be able to do for the people you care about? What charities can you support? just jot down one or two things. We have a course at Keller Williams called Quantum Leap, and it really digs into this because we call it a big why. I mean, why? Why would I want to do this? We call it that because there's going to be days, and I'm gonna tell you right now, there's gonna be days that you're not gonna want to do it. There just is. And sometimes if you think about why you got into it, it can push you to those times. And let me tell you what the great news is. When there's a day that you're like, there's nothing, I'm not gonna be good to anybody today, then don't. Just don't. That's the beauty of not having a BOSS. Will fire you, right? So, but the big why is important for us to at some point really determine and dig deep on what that is. And it helps pull you through. Okay, so has anyone ever heard of a limiting belief? Does someone have one that they want to share with the room? Gotta keep this for ourselves, don't we? I have a lot. Okay, so a limiting belief is where we think we can't. You know, Henry Ford has one of my favorite sayings. If you think you can, or you think you can't, you're right. There's stories after stories after stories of people that had, I mean, think about Galileo, think about Columbus, think about, you know, the world is flat. That was a limiting belief. I think about something as simple as I love to go to the gym. First time I got on a Stairmaster, and I was not young. I'm gonna tell you, I wasn't young. I got on a Stairmaster and I can only do 3 minutes, and that kicked my, you know what? I mean, it was like there, and I'm like, there's no way. There is no way I can do this. So now we fast forward about 7, 8 years. And now I can do, on most is like 56 minutes. But that's a lot. Yeah. It's a lot. Now I average about 30, 35 minutes when I do it. And I try to do it, you know, a couple times a week. But never in a zillion years. So when I kept telling myself that I can't do it, guess what happened? I stopped. And then I was reading in MREA, they talk about MREA. They were talking about the 4-minute mile. There's a guy in Australia, I think it's Ken Landy is his name, and he tried for years to run that 4-minute mile. And everybody says it can't be done. It can't be done. And all of a sudden, there's a guy, I can't remember his name, it's in the book. And he gets out there and he says, I really want to do a 4-minute mile, but I'm going to break it down. And so every day at lunch, he'd get out and he'd run one quarter, 25%, get out there and do it 10 times. And then the next day you go do it 10 times. He says, if I can do 25 in a minute, if I could do 25% or, 25% of the mile, quarter of a mile in a minute consistently, then he broke the record. He did that mile in 3.593 minutes, 59.4 seconds. What's really weird is Landy in Australia, 2 months later, beat his record. Because all of a sudden, it's like, oh, wait a minute, it can be done. Why do we set ourselves up for things that we don't even know if we can do it or not, right? Gary Keller says that if he was sitting in a classroom full of 13 to 16-year-olds and sat there and was telling them, you're probably not going to amount to much. Don't dream big. Don't dream too high. You're probably not going to get that job. He said, would you want me teaching that to your kids? No. And we tell ourselves that all the time. We're telling ourselves those stories. So that's limiting belief. So I'm going to ask you as you're going through this, because we talked about there's going to be a time in these next several months that you're going to say, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. And know that that's just your head. It's your limiting belief. Okay? So now what we're going to talk about is Ignite. And this right here, this is what successful agents do. Successful agents do, and they have to do both. Okay, you have to do both, but when you're new, you're not going to be doing as much of this as you are this. So we have to grow the business, and then we have to run the business. Grow the business will always be around, how do I find people that need me, that need my help? So growing our business is lead generating for buyers and sellers, making seller list presentations and I think they're calling it and buyer presentations. They call it listing still, but it is just a buyer broker agreement. That's a buyer listing. And then also preview real estate. So once we do that and see what happens, so this is the really crazy part. As soon as we get to this part, because someone said, yes, I'm gonna hire you, right? We stop this. And we're putting all of our love and time and attention over here. And see, this is why real estate has people look at their income like this, right? Because they're over here growing their business, and then bam, got one, and then you stop altogether. Then you have to, it's like a train. Once it's slow getting started, that's how running your business is. And then if it totally stops, it's got to start again. Whereas if it just slows down a little bit, it can still go pretty fast. Does that make sense? Think about this, think about that. So we're going to be spending time learning how to grow our business. All right. Turn to page 4 in your guide. This is where we are on page 4, right? Does anybody have any questions on that? Does that make sense?
I don't have a question, but I do have a statement. So I'm actually in the downslope. Like I did really well, and then I let my pipeline run out. Nobody else was on my bench, and then I'm kind of in a slump right now.
See,
Yeah.
but here's what happens. We have this, your head says, oh my God, but this is so important. I gotta do this.
Mhm.
But I want you, every time we get to that place of, oh my gosh, I gotta do this. I promise you there's plenty of time in the day to do this. Because we'll do anything. I'm included, guys. I've been doing this a long time. I don't want to do that. This is more fun. I like this way more. This, not so much. But you have to, and you have to become habitual about it. So thanks for sharing that, Brandon. Any other questions, comments? Does that make sense? All right. Okay. Okay, so when we talk about what is Spark, it's going to be, we're going to talk about your sphere. We're going to talk about talking to people that you know. We're going to show you how to, you got to know your tools that you can use for this. Okay. We're going to prepare you for success, and then we're going to recap at the end of this session today. That's what we're going to go over today. You guys good with that? All right. Now, has anybody heard of the 10-4, Daily 10-4? Eraser.
Going
Oh,
forward.
there it is. Thank you. So the Daily 10-4, we use that term in bold, and here it says the daily habits or whatever, but I like the Daily 10-4 because it reminds me of. So the Daily 10-4 is, number 1, I'm going to contact 10 people today. That means I'm going to have a conversation with them or a text. Number 2, I'm going to add 10 people to my database. We're going to talk about a little bit more in detail on that in a little bit. Number 3, I'm going to write 10 handwritten notes. And number 4, I'm going to preview 10 homes. Now, we're in COVID and we don't have a lot of inventory. So normally I say you got to get out and drive around and find this, but I would suggest you could still do this on MLS, preview MLS, find neighborhoods. If you're out, go travel around and look at neighborhoods. Okay, this is the Daily 10-4. Now, in locker room, which we are huge locker room fans, it says 5 people. Here's what I'm going to tell you. The more you contact, the sooner you're going to get someone to say yes. That's just, the number, sales is a numbers game. I don't care which one you do, because right now, if you're not doing any, either, I mean, 5 is great. 5 is great. If you're not doing any, and you don't think if 5 is like freaking you out, do 2. Just do more than what you're doing right now. Okay? So that is what Spark is. And that's the daily temple. They're gonna call it in your book, they're gonna be calling it your daily success habits, but that's what we're talking about. All right. Now, I've got to get to,
I am Gary Keller.
there's Gary, that's what I'm getting to.
Get off the fast start you can build on. Because if you repeated the principle every 90 days for a year, believe me, that lasts for sure. And just as important, you have built the foundation and momentum for your entire career. It is practical, realistic, and easy to apply. It's about the fundamentals that determine your level of success in the business of real estate. From our research with top agents, we have found that they too started their careers with these fundamentals, and they continue to do them along with their teams to this very day. It's not hard. It just requires a little focused effort, a few hours every day. Now, there's really just one way to achieve the goal. It's lead generation. Other skills are important. You have down leads to work with. There's skills you will need. Being in business never takes precedence over what? Finding business. Ever. Research shows that top producing agents make lead generation their #1 priority and the one thing they make sure they always get done. You can do this. And when you do, you will get the leads, the relationships, the experiences, the career, and the income that you want to deserve. Go get them.
All right, that's our fearless leader, if you have never seen Gary in action. So what did he say that sparked your interest? What did he say there? What'd you take from that?
You gotta do lead gen.
Hmm.
You wanna be a top producer.
Actually, I'm gonna take it a little bit further. If you want to sell real estate consistently. So top producer is, you could be a top producer, you do that even more. But if you want to have any consistency. Here's the other way to look at it. Some people, when I first got my license, I don't know what I thought. I have no clue what I kind of thought that I dress real professional, come to the office, and people would call me on the phone. I'm looking for a real estate agent. Can you sell me a house? Yes. Right? Or they'd come into my office, they just walk in off the street. And back in the day, even before me doing this, back in the day, they did that. They would just walk in your front door and you would have floor duty and say, yes, let me help you. But once I got here, if I relied on that, if I had to rely on people coming to me, I would have starved, or it would have been hit and miss. And that was one of the things that I learned really super fast, because those first few days, nobody came to knock it. And I'm like, what is this? And then I had that rude awakening, a conversation with someone successful, and said, Stephanie, if you want it, you gotta go find it. And whether you want to sell 5 houses a year, 12 houses a year, or 2,500 houses a year, lead generation is where it's at. So we got Gary. This is what he says, and I love this quote. Nothing else about your business will have a biggest impact as the number of leads that you have. Because not every lead will buy or sell. So here, truth told, you get one, you're like, oh my God, I got fish. You know, your phone's up, I got fish. And you're running around, you're doing all these things, and all of a sudden you find out a couple of things. Number one, maybe they are qualified. Number two, maybe they had a cousin that just got their real estate a day ago and doesn't know anything, but they're gonna sell their house, right? All these things can happen. So that's why we have to just keep on doing those activities every day. And if you do them first thing, get it out of the way, got the rest of the day to do all the other. Does that make sense?
Well, and it takes a while when you start lead gen before things really start happening.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
It can take you a couple weeks, 3 months,
It could
7
take
months.
months. Yeah, it could. It absolutely could. So.
And then it starts just rolling.
Yeah, and then it does. I have, does everyone know Kay Allen, one of our agents here? Do you know Kay? She came into my office and she'd been here about 6 months, maybe 7. And she came marching. And she's like, I've been doing this. I've been doing this for 6 months and it's nothing. She goes, I have never not been successful in my life. And I knew she was showing up and doing it. She was coming to the training, she got trained, she was doing the activities. And I said, keep doing it. That's all you've got to say. I said, I promise. And I think it was the next month she had 3 transactions. And then the next month she had another 3. It's like, you gotta get started and it's a slow start. And don't give up, because we give up before the magic happens. And then all of a sudden, here she goes, off and running. And you know, Facebook is her best friend and that's where she's getting all of her business. So don't give up on the activity. Okay. So what this is just showing is Ignite, the swirlies, the whys and hows of lead gen. We're gonna be talking all about lead generation. And then we have the appointment. And then we are off and running on the elementals. Okay, and it's these daily success habits that keeps this thing moving forward. If you're not doing these things, you're never gonna move from here. And so I know for some that's real scary to think about doing that. And it's probably because, why is it scary? Why is it scary to make phone calls?
Fear.
Never done.
Never done it? Mm-hmm.
Fear of rejection.
Fear of rejection, right?
I'm worried about being like too pushy or
Okay,
irritating someone.
right. All of those things are real. What if they ask me a question I don't know? Trust me, that's gonna happen every day in your life. I don't care how long you've been in real estate, it's gonna happen all the time. The reality is, if we do not know what to say, the chances of us picking up that 100-pound phone to make a phone call are nil. Have you ever got ready to start calling people and you sit there with that phone on? What am I saying? And your brain's going, oh, it's gonna sound stupid. Maybe they're gonna ask you a question. All that happens. That's why scripts are key. Because as soon as you learn your scripts and you do this, your confidence level goes up because you know exactly what you're gonna say. You know exactly what you're gonna say. So you can nix that one right off. I don't know what to say. That's probably the #1 thing of why people don't make calls, and rejection. You're gonna get a lot of those before you get a yes, so just get used to it. Okay? All right, so talk about our daily success habits. So here's the reality. We want you to start with your sphere. Guys, people already know and love you, right? They already know and love you. You've got people out there. Okay, we're doing a little exercise here. Get up your phone, open up your contacts. Okay? All right. I want you to scroll to the very bottom. Just scroll through everybody. How many contacts you got?
388.
Okay, 388. Leroy?
406.
406.
753.
753.
Excuse me, 505.
505. Write down that number, everybody. Write down your number. Paige, what you got?
275.
275.
You guys wanna know, I only have 81.
That's okay. You got 81. Your number's your number. Savannah?
450.
Okay.
817.
817. Okay.
273.
Okay. Okay. So I have 2,646. So now, okay, so take that number and I want you to divide it by 6. Take that number, divide it by 6. Okay, so let's talk about an average commission. The average sales price here is about 200, 220, but let's do real easy, super easy math. Say the average commission is $5,000. For every contact in your phone, you divide it by 6 and you get a number, right? Take that number, that's how many transactions are in your phone, average. Take that number and multiply it by $5,000. How much money is in your phone?
680,000.
Okay, okay,
$375.
$375,000. Paige?
250,000.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna cry over 70,000, right? But here, wait, so I'm doing this exercise for a reason. How much money are you making?
326,000,
Yep, Leroy?
335.
627.
There's millions of dollars right here. Let me tell you why I wanted you to go through this exercise. Because for every person in your database, and now there's people in here I met at the freaking football game. Yeah, let me get it. I don't even know, I would know them if I ran into them again. But, so we're gonna have some of those. Like, I was out that night. I don't remember that person, right? So that's gonna happen. It's gonna happen a lot. But there's still, even if you said 50% of the people in there I really know. I know more than that, but I mean, even if you do that, whatever your number is, it's half. Here's the reality. If we reach out to the people that we know and care about, right? If we reach out to them with consistency and with intensity, there's a darn good chance when it comes to their real estate needs, they're gonna think of me. Because you go to think about the people that are consistently in my face. Right? They're gonna think about the ones that call me to check on me to say, how are you? We call them care calls. When COVID hit, everybody was making care calls. But I'll tell you what, I probably talked to, I don't even know how many people, not just agents. I mean, just reaching out, I talked to Keller Williams agents. I talked to our agents. I talked to agents all over the community. I talked to agents all over the country, checking in on them. But let me tell you what, I did not get one call from my accountant. I didn't get a call from my dentist, my doctor, my trainer, just to check in and see how I'm doing. But we're different. Real estate agents are about building a relationship. And I'm gonna tell you what, when someone says, my realtor called me 3 times for no reason other than to check up on me and see if I needed anything. So the people in your phone that you already know and care about, they already know and trust you. They're sitting there waiting. They're going to have real estate needs. And if they don't, someone they know well. Someone they know well. So that's a pretty powerful little exercise, isn't it? So we're going to start with people we know. Start with your sphere. Your sphere is nothing more than already people that I already know. You don't even have to know them well. You don't even have to remember where you met them. Call them. And you can see, it could be as simple as, oh my gosh, you're in my phone. I can't remember how we met. Laugh. So I'm going through my phone, I'm reaching out to everybody I know to see how they're doing. How's it been the last year? You don't even have to talk about real estate. You don't even have to do the, who do you know looking to buy, sell, or invest. If you are nervous about even making those calls, just check in. Say, got my real estate license, and I learned at Keller Williams I should be reaching out to people I care about. How you doing? I love it when people do that. I had a lot of KW people reach out to me. Just checking in. How are you? So that's that sphere. Okay. So these, like I said, these are people that already know and love you. Now, does anyone have any issues in calling people they know? Because if you don't, I'll move you right over to people you don't know. Do you know what's really crazy? There are people that would prefer to talk to people they don't know. We have one in this office. blows me away. He doesn't like calling it people he knows. I actually have an agent. I'm not gonna give, I don't wanna, I'm talking about someone. He has another business, very successful business, that probably has a database with hundreds and hundreds of people that he knows, right? Hundreds, yeah. And he says, I don't wanna call them. I'm like, oh my gosh. You've done great business with them. They've been supporting your business for a long time. Why not? Oh, I don't want to mix the two businesses. Don't do that. People are people. So whether you've got, maybe you are selling Arbonne on the side or Parkland jewelry, some Parkland jewelry, or if you're doing any of the, side sales, you got a side hustle going on, whoever you're doing that with, you can also add them into your contacts, okay? All right. So when you think about the people in your phone, do you know of anybody that's going through some sort of change in their life? Right? And when I say that, I mean things like empty nesters, right, Jackie? Yeah, daughter going off to college, or people that are having babies, right? My neighbor, they had their 2-year-old and just had twins. Oh, bless their hearts, bless their little hearts. And guess what they're doing? They're looking for a new house because their house isn't big enough. So anybody that's going through a life change, whether kids are getting out or coming back, my daughter's with me now, and I'm loving it. I don't know why more single kids don't live with their parents. It's just awesome. And it's just a financial, if you want to pay off any debt anyway. So my daughter came back around. And so I kind of had a feeling it was going to happen. And so make sure that my house was big enough for it. But there's other people that may not have that, right? Or, they're getting married. Maybe they have a little 1 or 2 bedroom house, a little bungalow, and they're getting married. So think about, as you're going through the people in your phone, think about who might be going through some life changes, because those are the things that will push them to need to make a move. And when I say that, instead of saying I want to sell you a house, it's like, how do I help you transition this? Right? Because if we always come from a place of contribution, how can I help? They feel that. If you think that they can't feel if you just see dollar signs on their forehead, people can feel it in a heartbeat. Gary Keller says it all the time. It's on the cover of our MREA. This isn't about money. If you do the right activities, it just comes. It comes. So come from that place of heart. Okay. So turning to page 7 in your manual. Talk about your sphere. Okay, I'm going to briefly touch on this real quick because it's here. So there are ways when you think about life cycle of, I know that ballot. Is that what you said? It's like, I don't know why they made it like this, but anyway. So the likelihood of a move, when people are getting ready to buy homes, so there's this cycle and we call it the wave. So all of a sudden, when they get to the top of the wave, they're buying a home, right? And then very next day, they're down here, kind of like Legion. Remember that we do this, and then the next day, here they are. And between this purchase and that purchase is usually, it used to be 3 to 7 years. Now, research says 8 to 10 years. We want them to buy more or more often, but let me tell you what's happening. Even though they're staying in their primary residence longer, they're buying more properties. So it balances out. Probably it's a little better because a lot of people are really buying investments and they're thinking about their futures and all that. So what we want to make sure, here's what happens. They buy, here's the next day. So from here to there is 8 to 10 years, right? If we don't keep in touch with them, then when they comes time for this, then they're not going to be calling you. Or you're going to get one of these calls. Hey, Stephanie, it's Alexandra. She goes, you probably don't remember me, but you sold me a couple of houses. Oh, Of course, I remember her. I sold her house and they bought a huge, beautiful home. But I didn't stay in touch with her, right? She kind of fell through the cracks. But it was a miracle that she called me. But I was the only person she knew, but that normally doesn't happen. But if you stay in touch with them, right after they bought their house, you've got a partner for life. And everybody they know, because what they're gonna say is, she's calling me right after I bought a house. And there's no way I'm buying another house right now, and she's staying in touch with me. It's about the relationship. It's not about the dollar sign on the forehead. It's not about that, right? Does that make sense? So, moving on to your sphere. So your sphere, have you ever heard of the Ford method? Right, Ford method, we talk about this in bold. So the Ford method is, if we are not sure what to talk about with people, we talk about, and you remember it, Ford, family, occupation, recreation, dreams. So if you're ever not sure what to say, or you don't have a script in front of you, you can just call and say, hey, how's the family? How's the kids? Right? How's the dogs? Going on any vacations? Fantastic. Awesome. So what have you been doing together? You know, that's those kinds of questions. And what I will also tell you is, he who speaks less wins. You're like me. I'm a bit of a talker. Right? I'm a bit of a talker. And boy, I can talk up, I can move it up. So the best way to do this, serious. I mean, and more people don't even get more edgewise, or I'll be ready for my next thing as they're talking. Probably one of the biggest problems that a lot of real estate agents have, me included, is we need to become better listeners. And the best way to do that is ask questions, so we can practice listening. So the person who talks most connects faster. So we're trying to connect with people, right? So Paige, if I'm sitting here and I'm just going blah, 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 kind of like I do, like when we first met, and I'm blah, 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 and every once in a while I let you say something, right? When she left, I was like, oh my God, I love her. Because I'm doing all the talking. Right? Yeah. I mean, and I did let her speak a little bit, but when you do all the talking, you're the one connecting with them, and you're walking with them, God, that's great. And they're walking with, oh man, she doesn't say a word. Right? So if you ask them a lot of questions, especially ask them questions, because everybody loves talking about themselves. Let them do it and just keep asking more. And if you don't know the next question to ask, you say, tell me more about that. I want to know more. But here's the deal. What's really incredible is all that when you think they're winning on all this, they're getting all the good stuff, and you've got to sit here and shut up and not say much. What you're getting is the connection. And now when we're talking about your database in a little bit, you're going to go in your database and you put in all that stuff they told you. So that when you call them in 3 months, you can look at your notes, say, how was that trip? How was that cruise with the grandkids that you couldn't take before COVID? How was it? Gives me goosebumps. I have people that call me every 6 months. And this gal has been doing it for like 3 years. Trying to recruit her. I'm like, woman, you're fantastic. You're consistently calling me, and every time she calls me, she remembers, because she wrote it down in her database, what was happening in my life when she called. She goes, whatever happened with? How was that? It's a big one. So, but we're going to be asking questions. The more questions we ask, the more they get to speak. The more they get to speak, the more connected they're going to feel with you. Can we think about that? Think about your own relationships. Think about the people you know they care about you when they ask questions and want to get to know you. Do you guys have any friends or family members that just talk nonstop? And every time you get ready to say something, blah, they jump in. Yeah. Not that you don't love them, but you would, you're sometimes like, oh, this relationship's hard, right? It can be hard sometimes. So yeah, the more and where you can, listen, ask questions and listen, let them talk. I promise you, it's a gift. I'll let you know when I figure all that out, because I haven't gotten there yet. Okay, so I want to do a little, well, I'm gonna come back to that. I'm gonna do a little activity, but I'm gonna come back to that. Okay. So when you are reaching out and talking to these people, just start asking these questions. If you don't have a script in front of you, you just want to make a care call, just check in. But these are good prompters to dig in, because also you could say, how's the job? And during COVID, we were asking, are you still working? Because when they close things down, you never knew. And then you got to have really great conversations, because when they have no income or going through savings, and they're concerned about not being able to pay their mortgage, now they're in your world, and there's ways to help. So when you make those calls, how have you been doing? How'd you make it through COVID? Because we're back in it a little bit, guys. So these care calls are really, really super duper important. And if you have anybody that says, I didn't have to have a forbearance first time around, but I'm gonna have to go now come talk to me, because there's ways that we can help them, literally help them so they do not have to lose their house. Okay, especially if they were in a forbearance and now, the bank is saying, okay, you haven't paid in 18 months or 12 months or whatever it is, you owe whatever your mortgage is for those 18 months. It's awful. So, but there's ways that we can help. All right, so let's go to knowing the tools. So I don't know if you have this in your book. Do you have, let's see, do you have this in your book? Probably not. Okay, it's okay. So our technology is probably one of the greatest tools that we have to help us with this lead generation. Because if we're only talking to 2 or 3 people, it's gonna be real easy to remember all the conversations, all of the interactions and all that. But if you're talking to 5 or 10 people a day, and you are talking to 25 people this week, another 25 people next week, another 25 people next week, or you get to your 270 or 300 or 600 or 800 people in your phone, you're not going to remember the conversations. I promise you. So technology helps serve us in those things. But let's talk a little bit about what Gary Keller a few years ago at family reunion got up on stage and said, we are not a real estate company, we are a technology company. And everyone went crazy about that. All of the media outside, what the heck do you mean? He said, I am tired of aggregators trying to get in my real estate agents' pockets. This is back before Zillow started opening brokerages, but the writing was on the wall. Hell, the writing was on the wall 16 years ago when they visited Gary in Austin and said, we have this amazing app, this amazing platform. People can see all the listings anywhere in the world. Gary would want to use all of Keller Williams agents' listings. Just nice, that's nice. Yes, you can. He says, however, here at Keller Williams, my listing, my lead. Zillow said, that's not going to work because the leads that come in, we sell them back to agents in various zip codes. And Gary says, well, that's not going to work for us. You're not going to sell all of my agents' listings. You're not going to sell the leads off those to other people. Gary said, no thanks. And Zillow's like, they're the #1 real estate company. We've got to have their listings because there's too many. Because people won't look at us as a full platform if we don't have them. So there was a contract written and signed by both parties back there. Zillow cannot sell the leads to any Keller Williams agents' listings. So all of those leads that people are buying from Zillow, they're not KW leads. Their listings in Zillow, the lead will come to you. Let me tell you why. You know, when you look at a Zillow, up here on the corner on the right-hand side is an agent's picture, right? People that are buying leads, that's their picture. It's called a premier agent, meaning they're buying the leads from Zillow. Keller Williams leads, or Keller Williams listings, if you look it up, On the side is the Keller Williams agent that has that listing. Now, you can scroll down to the bottom. And down there should be 3 other pictures of other premier agents that are buying leads. So that contact will go to the Keller Williams agent. Gary Keller knew back then. Other people are wanting to get into our business in our pocket. So what he did is he created the Keller Cloud. And I don't know if any of you are techie, I'm really not, but my understanding, creating a whole platform, kind of a big deal. Took a few years and about $1 billion. And so now we have our end-to-end platform on one place and it's all ours. Meaning, you do not have to get data from other companies. We used to have a lot of bolt-on technology. We'd go to outside companies and use their various technologies, but that meant they had data. Gary Keller says we have to keep it here. Because you've got the people like Zillow and others, Redfin, that are getting into the brokerage business. They're realizing there's a lot of money in selling real estate. So anyway, that's the why. So what he wanted to make sure we had is there's 3 pieces of this transaction. A lot of times we just think of the agent or the office, but that consumer's out there. So we needed a platform that could adapt to all 3 things. So we've got a platform called Command. That's where the agent's business lies, all the technology to run the agent's business. We control our office here. And then you've got the consumer through the KW app. Okay. And then he said, we've got to be able to have more ancillary products. So we have Keller Mortgage for our mortgage needs. We have Keller Covered for our insurance. We have Keller Offers for an iBuyer program. If your seller is just wanting to unload a property really fast, we just became an iBuyer, by the way, this last couple of weeks. And Keller Manage for property management. So the tools need to be successful. So it needs to be end-to-end. Hey, people on Zoom, you guys okay? You hanging in there? Awesome. So when you jump into Command, it is fully integrated. And when I say that, what that really means is you can do everything that you need to do in your real estate business through one system. Have you ever had to? None of you have been in the business before this. When I got into the business, I had, does anyone remember Top Producer? Have you ever heard of Top? It's still around. Top Producer is a CRM. In fact, 20 years ago, it was really popular, but it was really kind of like a digital Rolodex. It didn't do anything, but it kept your people and you could put notes in there. And you could send some kind of marketing stuff here and there, a little bit of a drip campaign, nothing extravagant. So I had Top Producer, and then I had Market Leader is what I use for some of my marketing pieces. So if I wanted anything with Market Leader, I had to download it, upload it, and that's how it went out. And then I had DocuSign over here. So I'd have to take this contract that was in like a transaction desk, authentic sign type of transaction desk, and then take it over here, drop it into DocuSign to get sync. It was a mess. And I mean, for just 2 or 3 transactions, it's not a big deal. But if you're doing 8 or 10 a month, it's hard. But there was nothing, no company had end-to-end. So we all just had to work with it. And then you use a spreadsheet to keep it all together in one place where you could look at all of it. And then Gary said, we need a end-to-end, and Command was one. Command was, it was labbed. If you see the lab picture all the time, KW Labs, that's actually John, his son's dog. And but they were labbing everything. And I was in the first group of 28,000 KW agents and leadership that got to participate. Every time they did something, they'd send it out to us. Say, what do you think of this? And you just get, yes, love it, no, do this, do this, do this. And this was a process, and it's still like that. Because everybody's an independent contractor, and everybody runs the business differently. So, what I want you to think about is, does everybody know how to get to Command? Yeah? Okay, do you use the KW Mullinex tech, or do you just have an app? Do you just have an icon for it? I want you, everybody log in.
I actually had to set it up when I got here. That's what the internet. Man, first thing that pops up.
What's that? Are you Wi-Fi, are you connected to Wi-Fi?
Yeah, but I was.
Okay, scroll down.
So I had, like, when I put the internet, I had set it up, or when I pulled up, this is what other.
That's what, right there, but then you can go into it, right there. That's it. These are all the links. So command right there. Okay,
That's how I get to.
that's how you get to command. How many of you have entered a contact into command? Has everybody entered a contact? Okay, so how many of you has anybody have you put them on a neighborhood nurture? Have you done any of that? Okay, I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna try to do this without, hold on, people. If you're on Zoom, I'm gonna try. Guys, need a quick little break. Anybody? Okay, you go, girl. I love her. Okay. So when we open up command, now in your workbook, you guys are a little further along, but on page, let's see, yeah. I'm doing this now because I'm gonna run out of time, but I really wanted to do this. Okay, my pages, I have a lot more than you, so bear with me here for just a second.
It's probably 11.
Hmm?
I think it's page 11.
Page 11, is that where you have the icons?
Yeah.
Okay, so on page 11, thank you, your page. You got these icons, and what you want to remember is you don't have to write all that down if you don't want to, because all you have to do is kick up here on your KW, click on that, and it's going to tell you what they are. So you've got home, contacts, tasks, smart plans, referrals, opportunities, campaigns, reports, designs, listings, consumer. If you do not have a clear understanding of these, you just have to reach out to Heather. And Heather will schedule a one-on-one with you. She'll do it over Zoom or in person, whatever you want. It gets a little overwhelming at first, but no, you can't break it. What I also want to know, there's videos on all of this of the how-to. But I want to talk to you about contacts since we are on still talking about our spheres. So if we go into contacts, okay. So here. Have all of you added yourself? I'm gonna show you a little exercise. I want you to go in here and on the right-hand side where it says add contact, I want you to go in there and add yourself. So when you pull that up, it's gonna pop this up. So you're gonna enter all this stuff. Go ahead and do that. So remember, contact is name, address, phone number, email. Name, address, phone number, email. The more info we put in, the better our life is. And if you're anything like me, I'm a high D. I'm a high I too, but I'm a high D. I want it fast and bam. So I will sometimes be a little lackadaisical on it all, not asking for all the information, but I know I have to have name, address, phone number, email. So once you've done that, let me just go in here and find me. Okay. So you can go in here and you can tag yourself. You can tag it in the contact. You could say, and here's what I want you to think about when you're starting to do this. I'll already kind of identify how you want to tag people. Are they family and friends? Are they a buyer? Are they a seller? I will tell you Heather is the bomb. If you would like to talk to her before you get started about how do you set up your tags? You don't want too many, but you want enough to be able to separate out people, because then you can go pull up all your family. You can pull up all your friends. You can pull up all the buyers. You can pull up all the sellers. You know, what, maybe it's from church. You know, however you want to tag them, but make sure you tag them. It is easier to do it when you're inputting them than it is to go after the fact. So here I am. So I've got my phone number in there, I got my address and all that good stuff. So I'm going to set myself up, and this is what I want you to do. Set yourself up on a neighborhood nurture. This, you can set anybody up on this. A neighborhood nurture is where you go in and you pick a neighborhood, because our system is the only system that can go find property based on a neighborhood, not a zip code. Right? We don't have to have a zip code, because 73072 is all of this. It could be Cambridge, it could be Brookhaven, it could be Castle Rock. It's a lot of communities, but you've got someone that wants to live in Brookhaven. How do you search that on Zillow? Right? You got to go in there and put in 73071, right? Or you could probably do a search by a street. But here I set this up. I live in Hall Park, but I wanted to pull up something closer here because there's not much for sale in my neighborhood. So I added, and you can add neighborhoods. So say I pulled up my own house, and see how you do that. I'm already in here, but you can add a neighborhood and it'll pull it up automatically based on the address. Okay, but I added Brookhaven too because there's more property available. So say I live in Hall Park and I want to move to Brookhaven. I want to see what's going on in my neighborhood, and I want to see what's going on in the neighborhood I'm thinking about moving to. Right? So, and this could be anywhere. It doesn't even have to be in Oklahoma. Right? You can set them on nurture anywhere. Okay, so then I'm going to go in here and I want to show you what I've set myself up on. So twice a month, I get an email from myself. Now it's branded to me. Okay, you can't see. Over here is my picture. It's branded to me. It's going to show all the homes and the location in Norman with the map. And then you're going to go down here and it's going to get call to action if you want to talk to me. Right? But if I go up here, the reason I personally love getting this, I want to know, I'm nosy. I want to know what homes are going for in my neighborhood. I want to know, am I doing well? How's my investment? Right? But let's pick this beautiful listing, Miss Savannah. Okay. So doesn't it look better than MLS? I think it looks so much better. So you can sit here and you can view through, and it pulls from the MLS, but you can view through the photos. Right, it's gorgeous. And of course it's pending. How many days? 1 day. Beautiful home. So your clients can get this for the neighborhood that they're in or the neighborhood they want to be in. So let me tell you what this is better than an MLS, because you've got the beautiful photos, but now you've got the information that they care about. An MLS sheet is really a lot of stuff, right? And it's not real pretty. So here it's showing the address. It's a 4-bedroom, 5-bath, 4477 square feet, and it's a single family home. It is $725,000. You can schedule a tour right here. Okay. And here's the neighborhood it's in, Brookhaven. Here's home details. It's going to show who the listing agent is. Commute times. Here you can go in here and say, oh, you know what, I worked up at Devon Tower. So you can go in here and search for a place, and it's going to tell you how long it takes you to get to work. Because people want to know how they can get to work, right? So if I want to say, I think Devon Tower's in here. Watching water boil.
And while you're doing this, I'm gonna say, I use this for door knocking.
Ah,
I offer this service and I get their email and I already have their home address because I knock on their door. So this is how I get the most email addresses door knocking is offering this, and I'll take my copy from my house that comes to me in the email. And I'm like,
Beautiful.
this is what you get every month if you want it. Would
And it's
you
free.
like to give over your equity? Would you like to just curious what's for sale? Open your email, done.
Also think about how many people have friends that live in the neighborhood. If you get notified when there's properties, yeah, it's pretty cool. Well, this is gonna circle around the drain, so we're gonna just go ahead and get rid of it.
So is there a way to take out all the pendings and solds out of that search?
Yeah, I think you can set it up that way in the search. I think, I like to know what's under contract, just in case it falls, if it
Right,
falls
yeah.
out. But, well, shoot, how do I get out of here, fellas? We might be stuck. There we go. Okay, so then you have your home facts. Nearest built, price per square foot, right? It's so beautiful. I just think this is a clean piece, right? Then what a lot of people just love, tell me about the schools. So it's gonna list the schools. Okay, but it's also gonna list the student teacher ratio. I mean, so if people are not from here and they don't know what schools are great schools or not, I mean, they're gonna look at these, 20-1, 21, 17-1, cool, Cleveland, and then it's gonna show some private schools, right? So this is, and then lastly, it's gonna talk about your mortgage payment. It's gonna say, here's Keller Mortgage, and here's what it's gonna cost you for $735 on a 30-year fix. There's your payment. Now that's your principal and interest. So you've got to add your taxes and insurance after that. But tell me, is this what I get this seriously? And I have to keep setting myself up because my smart plan wears out. And I have to keep going back and setting myself up. So put yourself on that so that you will start getting that for your own. And I think, okay, guys, you're gonna make me work for this. I want to, I think I'd just go in. Do you guys know how to set up Smart Plan? God, you know I should learn this, right? Add activity, nope. I'll come back to that. Yes, and then you add your name to the neighborhood manager. Okay, that's it. But go back to your contact again. So when you're looking at your contact, so every time you have a call or something with myself or any contact, I'm going to add either a note or a task or both. Usually it's both. My note's going to be whatever we talked about. So if I was calling my sister, she'd say, okay, so we're going to California to see Diana's going to be getting engaged and they're going to come here for the engagement party. I'm going to be writing all this down. So that when I call her and I set a task to call her in 3 months, say, how's California? How's your daughter? Did she get engaged? Right? So that's why we use this. Then your tasks, if you look, oh God, don't look at my tests, guys. I haven't caught up with COVID, okay? But you're gonna see them. I'm gonna share them. So you're gonna see a lot of do. Oh wait, I've got them in another place. Never mind. Just for this reason. Oh my God, it's kind of like having, does anybody have like 50,000 unread messages or something? That drives me crazy. It's gotta be 0. Mine is always gonna be 0. Unless I am in here like this. But so in here, you can go in here and create a new task. And it could be attached to a contact or it could be just on your own, just a task. Like, what do I need to do? I need to call 5 people today. I need to call 10 people today, right? Does that make sense? So jump in there and play around in command. If you're not comfortable, please reach out to Heather and have her help you. Okay? Don't get too caught up in the woods. Walk through the woods here. And does everybody know that if you go to KW Linux Tech, that'll link you to everything that we have here. KW Linux Tech. Okay. All right. And some of this is Greek to you, Courtney, and that's okay. I don't want to spend too much time doing that. So everybody has got, you've all over here on this side, because Derek here is still new, but you guys all have contacts in. Are you comfortable with putting contacts in command? Pretty comfortable, or I know you're using a different
Yeah.
system, but, you guys comfortable using it? Good. Okay, so we've got 30 minutes. I'm going to get out of this. And go into this. And nope. That's not it. Oh, guys, Stephanie, you're sitting here squinting, put your glasses on. Nope. Lord. There it is, past all that. Okay, so we talked about our technology. I want to talk about your toolkit. If you go to the very back of your book, the very back of your binder, I'll let you share with Jackie. This toolkit has got all kinds of really cool stuff. Back there, you've got your scripts are not in there because the scripts for Spark are right after the last session of Spark. And the element scripts are right after all of the element sessions. But if you start out there, you're going to find a few things. The first thing I think is the 66-day challenge. Have you ever wanted to start a new habit or break an old one? Ever? Yeah. It's hard. The bigger the habit, the harder, right? Gary Keller says, research says, it's about average 66 days to break a habit or start a new one. And a lot of people say it's 21 days. Well, some things are 21 days, but the majority of things are 66 days. So I will tell you that my mother came to visit me in New Mexico about 7 years ago. And I was taken to the airport and I walked her in and sat her down. And I came back to go check her bag at the curb. And I had a moment, you know, one of those moments of, maybe she's not gonna live forever. And I thought, I'm very close to my mom, but we didn't talk all the time, you know, I'm busy. And so I made a decision that I was going to call her every day, just to check in. Because I didn't want to not have a day, because one day she's not gonna be here. So this sounds crazy, but I got out that form. And I had that in my car, taped to my glove box, right over here by the airbag thing. And every morning I call her on my drive to work. Every morning. So after 66 days, it's 7 years, ladies and gentlemen. I moved to Oklahoma 5 years ago. And she's like, you don't have to call me every day. It's a freaking habit. And it's not a long, drawn out, I'm just calling to check in. How you doing? You need anything? And it still happens. That's how powerful it is. But the thing is with the 66-day challenge, if you want to stop eating cookies, hasn't worked for me on that. I can call my mom every day, but I can't stop eating cookies. But whatever it is, here's the only deal. If you miss a day, you gotta start over. So, but if there's anything that you're super dying to do or not do, this is one option, okay? So that's a pretty powerful tool in there. I think the next thing is a 411. Daily 411. Some of you know what that is. Does anybody not know what that is? And Derek, I know I'm putting you on the spot here, but you have an excuse. You just haven't even been here yet. So the daily 411. If you are in coaching, I know Brian's working on this. If you want any one-on-one help, I'd love to help you with it. So let me know. It is a way for you to track your activities to make sure you hit the goal. So the 411, 4 stands for 4 weeks, 1 month, 1 year. So you have a big goal, and then you have the monthly goal, which is usually just that divided by 12. And then you have the activities that you have to do every day to hit the goal. And see, we want to sometimes focus so much on the goal. It's not the goal that we focus on. We focus on the activities to get us there. Because if we just focus on the goal, we're going to miss out on hitting it, because we should be focused on the activities. I think we have, what else is in there? We've got there's checklist, there's a buyer consultation sheet, which is great. There's also one in the locker room. That's the buyer lead sheet, checklists, for making an offer, presenting an offer, etc. There's a lot of great information in there, so you can play around in that. There's a pre-listing packet, that is a template, and that template is also in Command. And please know, see, this is where other people have already done it, steal it, we call it R&D. A lot of people say that's research and development, here at Keller Williams, we say rip off and duplicate. R&D, because that's what we do. We rip off from someone else and duplicate it. Okay? All right. I wanted to take just a few minutes and I'm gonna, you know what, let me talk too much, bang. I want to make sure we talk about daily 10-4. Okay, so when this says prepare for success, I want you to pull out your phones. Once you get ready, go into your Spark script book. Spark, before you pull out your phone, go into your Spark book, and it's about halfway through. It's the 9th. After 10, there's 10 sparks, and right after that should be script book. Okay. After there's a first script and then there's a second script, and there are two varieties of scripts. There you go. There's two varieties there. You can pick one or the other, and I want you to partner up and do a little script practice. Why don't you read one and then your partner read one? So you can just right here. I want you to each take a turn. And even if you're not brand new to Keller Williams, but it's a new to Keller Williams and you are neither, but still. That and it'll be the first one there.
Good, all right.
Right. Yep. Why don't you read? That's script.
All of them are in scripts right now. Yeah, so, good. Oh,
Yes, you know what? I'm just saying.
Okay.
I'll let you two go back, okay?
I continue to
Yeah, that sounds good.
Cindy, are you by yourself there? Are you? Okay. So did you find this, you don't have the script book. We're gonna be bringing your binders down. We'll be bringing your stuff down next week when Megan and Casey comes. So you can get in there, and that script book is really good stuff. What they're doing, these are all brand new agents. Or most of them are kind of new, and they're jumping in there because they get nervous about what to say, calling, but the scripts are really good.
Okay, I still get nervous.
I can't even hear you. Dang
I
it.
said I still get nervous.
I'm gonna call, let me call you after.
Okay.
Write down any questions you might have, okay?
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, for sure.
All right.
I also like to offer real estate update on your newsletter. You can also add additional newsletters. And just work on, all I need is your current address, email.
The price of gold. Well, hey, the reason I'm calling was, I just wanted to share with you that I'm a real estate agent.
I'm building my business on people that know.
I knew you would be someone that would work on my business this year. I'm like,
If you think about buying,
and been doing that, I can't do that on that screen. So I would like to see. Thursday, between 3 and 4.
Kind of like.
3:30 work for you? Okay, well, I look forward to seeing you. See you in the meantime. Okay. All right. Well, I look forward to seeing you. I didn't hear them. Yeah, I am. And then one more questions. When you're asking about, is that one for you? Yeah, so you know, like it down. You're putting yourself in not I apologize.
Are you still working?
Let's see.
If you have all of these, and I think so they had joined
All right, who's done? Is everybody done? Did everybody get a chance? Okay, was that weird? So for years, we said you had to follow the script verbatim because of different types of language patterns and, you know, we had to do it verbatim. And finally, you know what, make it your own. Because people aren't gonna do it if it doesn't feel right. So, but you kind of get the drift of this. That is what I would do if I were you, because you got all these contacts in here, right? You got a ton of people that you can call. Start calling them, take a script, and if I had you do one of the I'm new in the business, or I'm new to Keller Williams. There's another one, I think third page, I'm new to Keller Williams. But go through the scripts, find one that you like, make it your own, and call these people. And as you call them, make sure you're adding them to your database if they're not already in there. If they're already in there, go in there and open up notes, and after the call, just jot a quick note about what it was about. And then you can send a task for what do I need to call next. Does that make sense? If you do just that, so there's the talk to 5 people or 10 people, add it to my database, send them a note with your business card. Send them a note, just, hey, it was great talking to you. 2 or 3 sentences. I write 5 notes every single day. Every day. That's another one. I didn't even have to do a 66-day challenge. But it is so important to do that. How many of you, I mean, we get a ton of emails every day, right? Ton of texts. How many things do you get in the mail from someone? Not much. Right? So you're separating yourself from everybody else. And people, I don't know about you, I love getting them. I love getting a handwritten note. And it doesn't matter what it says. And guys, every single man seems to say, my handwriting's awful. Doesn't matter. I don't care if I can read it or not. I can make out, my husband's the worst, trust me, I can figure it out. But it makes a difference. And if you want to, if you do that, now we have our KW Molex cards up here. You need some little snow cards and just to send a business card out to some of the people that you're talking to. Don't let I don't have any note cards get in the way. Snag some from the front desk, we have a bunch of them. And just do, and again, if you're not doing 10 or 5, do 2 or 3, do something more starting tomorrow than you've done in the past. If it's not 5 or 10. And just a quick little note from your business card in there, you never know. You never know. There are people that are so touched by getting that, they will remember you. You'll probably end up on their fridge, right? Little magnet up there. Oh, yeah. And then when you call again and you keep reinforcing by continuing to reach out and touch base, you are now solidifying in their head that you sell real estate. Because you don't want to always assume, well, I told them once so they know. They forget. They forget. Promise, promise, promise. All right. So now I want you to get out your phone. If you like that script, use it. And if you don't, I want you to call someone in your phone. And guys, I don't care if it's your mother. I do not care. This is just an activity I need to call. I want to call someone. And you can use that script. I've just got my real estate license, or I'm at Keller Williams and I got my real estate license, and you can use that script. Or if you're not comfortable doing that yet, because you want to practice it more, then make a care call. And a care call is, you haven't talked in a while, I just want to check in, see how you're doing. You know, I was sitting in here in a class, you know, I got my real estate license, so I'm here in a class. And we're talking about how we've reached out to we really care about, and I just want to reach out. Say hi, okay? I want you to make 2 calls. Oh, right now. And I don't care who you call, I don't care. It could be your mom, your husband, I don't care. I want you to enjoy the act of doing it.
Got really quiet.
Yeah.
I said it got really quiet. That's that pin drop right before you make the first call.
People think that everyone's listening to you, they're really not, they're worried about their own call. I promise that too.
That's a boy. I'm in class today, so I was just thinking, did you guys ever get your thoughts? Yeah, fantastic. So you got everything got started? All right, well, I just wanted to check in on it. See if there's anything that, what was that? Oh, hygiene. So, yeah.
Move forward.
Yes.
So is. What? Yeah. Thank you, Brian. Thank you. Everybody got your.
Yes. Hello.
All right, well, good to you. I just, let me know if there's anything I can do. All right, so Jim, all right, Jim.
Thank you. Thank you.
Aaron is Brandon, just calling to.
Okay. All right.
Thanks.
See you later.
So this one with the tabs has changed on it.
You what?
This one with the tabs has changed on it. Like I can go directly to whatever.
Yeah. It's,
I
I
love it.
know the pages, but that, I bought that
Yeah.
version of it, and it is the bomb. First of all, that you can open it up all the way,
Yeah, that,
but the tabs are killer.
But,
Yeah, oh, the Legion model, okay, there you go, there it is.
Yeah.
Right there. It's good. Okay, so if you called one person, did you call one person? Everybody call one person? You're on your, you two? Everybody call at least one. How'd that feel? What, tell me why, tell me.
I don't know, just, I don't know.
So did you call someone, who'd you call?
My husband.
Okay, well, it's gonna be awkward because you're calling your husband.
Yeah.
And there, you would just say, I'm in this class and I have to get used to the idea of calling and it, well, if you call him, that's awkward. What do you think would happen if you had something to actually say to someone? Right?
I just don't wanna feel like a robot, like,
Yeah.
you know, I want people to, you know, be like, oh, okay, that's authentic, you're not actually reading a script, you know, and I have to get used to that.
Do you know what? Here's the deal. You do not want to sound, you don't want to read from the script on the phone.
Yeah.
You have to read it over and over. Okay, so I'm gonna really date myself. So remember back in the days when they're back again, record players?
Mhm.
Okay, and then there were CDs, but the record player was when you've heard a song, you're like, oh my God, that's. And I'm gonna learn the word, because I love to sing, and I sing like crap, but I love to sing the crap. So I'll listen to the song over and over again. And I'm just singing, and the more I listen to it, the more I learn the words, to where now I can sing without any music, right? The same thing. This is gonna be the music for your business. So find a script, tweak it to make it yours, and you practice it over and over. I had to do this, this video for, when I was on the board in New Mexico, we had this big gala event. And it was a big deal, me and black tie, and all this fun stuff, and I had, as a board member, I had to present something. And so they have a green room there that you get in there and they're like, where's your script? And I go, I'm all around the house the weekend before, I wrote what I had to write. And I keep saying it out loud, and walking around the house, and my husband be like, you telling me? No, I'm still going, because I didn't want to sound canned. They said, we'll put a prompter up and you can read it. I go, that for me, I sound canned when I'm doing that. I just needed to memorize it. And it was a lot, but I memorized it, and then it just flowed, it was natural. So memorize it to where you can say it in your sleep. And you can even say, Mom, I'm calling to practice my script on you. So you just be quiet and answer and ask questions, right? Call people, call your friends, and just do whatever you have to keep practicing.
So Steve Webb,
Oh.
amazing.
Scripter extraordinaire.
Yeah, so he was my script coach when I joined the team, and Summer Fowler is my coach in the team. And I bugged her because I sounded like Steve whenever I would do my script practice. She goes, you're sounding like Steve and you're not sounding like yourself. So she said to memorize the script, internalize the script, and then personalize the script.
There you go. I love that.
Yeah.
Say it again.
Memorize, internalize, and personalize.
There you go. That's it. Make it yours. Memorize it, and know what you have to say and the message you're trying to get across or what you're having to say. But you've got to deliver it. See, there's one other thing. I have a lot of these one other things. So you may have seen, Sandy, you're not going to see this, but I'm going to share it with you later. It's a trust triangle, and some of you know are familiar with this. The trust triangle. And for people to trust you, first thing, you've got to be empathetic. They have to matter more than you. They know that they matter more than what's good for you, right? They have to know that. You've got to be authentic. And you have to be a local expert. This is how people trust you. But here's that authentic, by golly, your audio better match your video. So be you. There's only one unique you. Ring that bell every day. You all have superpowers. You do, and people know what they are. They may not be able to, now for most people that I know, I could tell you what their superpower is. And I pour into them about their superpower all the time, because you have to know that you matter, you're special. Every single one of you have something to offer. But make sure that you're authentic, make sure you're showing your true self. And then, the local expert, learn your market. But when it comes to real estate, this was a Harvard study. It said it's called the trust triangle. This is what they said: for people to trust you, they have to know it's about them, not about you. Gotta be authentic. So they know that what they're getting is a real thing, and then be a local expert, they're gonna trust you. So but the scripting helps you internalize what you need to say, what you're trying to get across. So that when you're confident, when you're calling a doctor to make an appointment, you know exactly what you're saying. I'm calling to get an appointment, right? I'm calling to make a dentist appointment. You're confident making that call. It's when you're not sure what you're going to say that the angst comes up. But when you're confident in it, and let me tell you what happens when you're calling every person in your phone. Serious, you call every person in your phone, you're going to get so great at that. Any other call is going to be a piece of cake. Okay? I'm going to give you one other piece of advice, and I think some of you have to give it to you. When you're calling your database or your phone, which is your sphere, or your database, if it's in command, we always start out with great intentions, right? And we start with what? The A's, right? All of a sudden we're talking to the A's and we get to the B's, we're talking to the B's, oh my God, B's gotta buy a house. So we stop. Remember that whole up and down thing? We pause. We put lead generation on pause. And we help B get a house and all that stuff, and then we're like, oh no, I had nothing in my pipeline, right? So we gotta get back to calling, and we're going, I don't remember where I left off. I'll just start here. So A's are gonna get a lot of love, but your X, Y's, and Z's are gonna get nothing, right? So it's called the DT-D2, which is do the database 2. I've got the list. It's gonna tell you what letters of the alphabet to call, so that you're really getting, in case you do this stopping, you can pick back up, and you're gonna get through the whole alphabet. I think it's 13 weeks. Okay, but if you don't have a lot of A's or D's, or I think it's D's and W's, or I can't remember how, but I've got the list of how you do. If you don't have a lot, you can do it in 3 weeks. Just do more alphabet, just keep going through. Okay, all right, you got 5 minutes. What's your ahas? Tell me something that you learned today. You have to put yourself out there. Yeah. You have to get out of your comfort zone. Yeah. Magic happens out there, guys. That's where the magic is. Right? What else?
How much
What'd you
money
learn?
is in my phone?
Huh?
How much money is in my phone?
Oh, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of cash. Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like what she said. I mean, I could run into a stranger at Walmart and talk to him 30 minutes about nothing. But just trying to, focus on like this and put it to people.
But you're
It's so much harder. You gotta get out of the comfort zone and just do it.
Make the point to
Yes,
reach
questions.
out and be a friend.
Yeah. I mean, I never had a problem just talking to total strangers.
Let me tell you, okay, so you're gonna ask them, so what do you do for a living? And they're gonna say whatever they say. And guess what? They're always gonna say, what do you do? Always. So prompt them. You're asking, so what do you do for a living? So what do you do? And then they're gonna ask, what's our real estate? And the next question they're gonna ask, everybody does, wow, what's the market like? And you know what I say? It's awesome. Even when it's not. Because for me, it was always awesome. Because if you lead generate, you will not feel the pangs. The market will not get in the way of your success, ever, ever, ever. So, good. All right, gang. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, please let me know. Or if you'd like to come back, we're doing it the first and fourth of the. Thank you. Okay. And